Okay, today is Monday, November 16th. It is currently 1:38 p.m. And my forecast for Tampa is due at 7 p.m. So, taking a current look at things, temperatures started out this morning 67 degrees. Let's get an actual low value. Take a look at the METAR's 6-hour min. It's in this to 7 hours. Okay, 19.4 Celsius. That is indeed 67. So this morning's low was 67 degrees. Good to know. And they have risen all the way up to 84 degrees with a light to moderate east flow, which is offshore. Skies are mostly clear, partly cloudy. Let's take a closer look at this visible satellite. And looks like just some fair weather clouds moving from the onshore from the east. It appears there's a good batch of clouds associated with a disturbance currently over the southwestern U.S. And there's a strong fetch of subtropical moisture making its way across the southern states. So let's take a look at how these clouds evolve through time. We'll take a look at the 4 kilometer RPM. Here's the simulated radar and satellite. Okay, moving forward. So this definitely picked up the fair weather clouds, which are currently overhead, which aren't doing too much as far as temperatures are concerned. 19Z, 20Z, Eastern time zone. It's about 3 o'clock p.m. So clouds are still in the area. It looks like they dissipate as daytime heating relaxes. Though it looks like there's a little bit of precipitation activity along with some cloudiness over eastern Florida, although that's probably due to an onshore fetch in those areas. And it looks like those clouds and associated rain do not make it into the Tampa area. This is close to around midnight now, and it seems like overnight tonight clouds stay away, although okay, so I gather from this tonight looks fairly clear. So let's compare that with what happened last night. They got down to 67 degrees. And it looks like they had clouds for part of the night with a light to moderate offshore flow. And then those clouds departed, which allowed temperatures to fall to 67 degrees. Okay, and tonight looks like there won't be any clouds to really worry about for Tampa. Okay, let's look to see how those clouds behave tomorrow. So here's your line of convection associated with a cold front pushing eastward. Florida's pretty far away from that. We'll see if any sort of westerly flow picks up, or we're going to maintain the easterly flow. So it looks like easterly flow maintains itself pretty well. It looks like some more clouds and few rain showers do make it into western Florida. This is 1530Z tomorrow, surrounded right now, or a little bit earlier than now. And it looks like, once again, like the overnight hours, these clouds have a hard time making it all the way to Tampa. So I am watching an area of enhanced convection over southern Florida. Now it'd be important to monitor this, as there's some relatively high reflectivity readings of 40 decibels, that can easily put down a tenth of an inch of rain or more. But according to this model run, that stays south, and loss of daytime heating, convection winds down for the most part. And then we watch a bunch of clouds moving in from this cold front and disturbance moving eastward. Okay, so let's a look at the cloud, and it looks like for the most part little to speak of, although I am monitoring this area to the south. Now I want to take a look at a prior run. That was a 15Z run, so let's take a look at the 12Z run and see where that line of convection is on this model run. Okay, so looks like this model also agrees with the fact that there won't be many clouds at all overhead tonight. And now we're starting to get into tomorrow. The Atlantic convection. It looks like it's in a similar spot for the most part, so I think I can breathe a little easier and say that won't be a factor in tomorrow's weather. Okay, so let's take a look at the lovely time-night cross-section. So let's review the relative humidity to the layer. Now, it seems like there's a good amount of moisture within the boundary layer below 800 millibars. Later today, through the nighttime hours. However, the simulated satellite and the RPM didn't really show much cloud cover whatsoever. Taking a look at cloud fractions. So it looks like it might be a little bit of cloud, 6Z. Okay, let's go back to, I don't know which one's 15Z, so they don't label it on the model for some reason. So 6Z with a NAM model highlighted cloud cover. So let's take a look at 6Z. There really isn't much to speak of on the RPM. GFS, not really. This high moisture content to the easterly flow. I'm sure the P-watts are pretty high. They're a good amount, above an inch. Yeah, Florida is definitely a moist place. Okay, let's not skip ahead. Okay, so after 6Z, it seems like there's a good agreement that there will be a good period of cloud-free sky, which would enable radiational cooling. Let's take a look at winds overnight. Tonight they relax very nicely, so it looks like between a little after 6Z, so 7 or 8Z, right through 12Z, they'll have a good time with radiation cooling. It's P-watts again. Compared to last night, looks like they're fairly similar, a slight bit higher. However, the lack of clouds. Let me take a look at the GFS too. Okay, actually, the GFS is actually drier. I agree. I think I might lean towards that. RPM definitely showing dry air. So despite all the high relative humidity values, it's not really producing much in the way of cloud cover. So the main takeaway for the overnight hours, less clouds than last night, and I think winds will also be less of an issue, so I think they'll be able to radiate a little bit better. Again, let's take a look at last night's winds. Okay, they had a strong level of jet over them last night. They will again tonight, although this looks more spread out, so I think they'll be okay. Let me take a look at this 10-meter wind from the NAM. Okay, it's relatively light flow. Let's see, there's the west right here. Okay, so winds did die down, so I don't think the winds were as much of an influence as clouds, but like this region, this window here, I think will be around for most of the night tonight. I think with the lack of cloud cover, temperatures will be able to drop a little faster. Dew points currently low 60s, so I'm thinking the low will be cooler than last night. Oh, sweet man, just laughing like crazy. Okay, so right now I'm just focusing on the low temperature. So let's see if the model agrees that tonight will be cooler than last night. Fine. I don't want to spoil anything, but let's go with it. 2 meter temperature. Okay, so the model has a low of 71. Remember, this model had a lot of clouds. So take a look at the GFS. It's a bit cooler, less cloud cover. It got down to 67 last night, so I think both models are a little too warm with the low, given reasons mentioned earlier. It looks like dew points do creep up a little bit from now until 60. However, I don't think it's that significant, as winds are generally light, so there isn't a whole lot of moisture to advect in. The NAM is considerably more moist. It has, yeah, this showed up really nicely on PWatts as well. Take a look at current precipitable waters over the southeastern United States on the SPC mesoanalysis. Okay, so it looks like Tampa's around here, so about 1.3. Let's send it 4 hours ago, so it's been hovering around 1.3 for most of the day. It's 19Z, and I think the GFS has a better handle. Well, it's a little premature to say that, so we'll see if this verifies on the NAM, this surge of precipitable waters. I don't really see that happening. Higher values, it would have to come from down here, I think, as the flow is from east to west. Something to monitor as time progresses. Okay, so that's the low. I think it's going to be cooler than last night, and cooler than what the models seem to have right now, especially the NAM. The NAM low is way too warm. There's way too much moisture. Okay, so let's take a look at high temperature for tomorrow. So we've already evaluated that there shouldn't be too many clouds, although there would be a good amount of moisture in the low levels. So if convection were to be in the area, then there would be a bit of concern. However, I don't think convection should be a big issue. Looks like both NAM and GFS increase the moisture availability in the atmosphere substantially for tomorrow. Again, not so certain that convection will fire. It's kind of lacking a trigger. And most of the convection activity that appeared on the RPM stays to the south. So while these clouds do look, a little, have an impact, I don't think these are going to have much of an impact at all. So let's compare with today. They're currently 84 degrees. That'll update in about 5 minutes. East wind, I expect them to go up a few more degrees, assuming the wind can sustain itself offshore. If you get a sea breeze, then temperature shouldn't rise too much, but I think they'll be about 86 next hour. A few clouds, but again, I don't think those are having much of an impact. So for the high, I think it'll be largely persistence. Looking at winds for tomorrow, same direction, fairly windy day too, windier than today, so sea breeze concern is pretty negligible. Taking a look at the temperature profile, literally copy and paste pretty much from today to tomorrow, so I think I'm just going to steal whatever today's high is and go with it. GFS is a little warmer. We'll take a look at current 925 temperatures, see how they'll line up with the models. Looks like about 19 Celsius at 925 Tampa. Okay, it's a little. I would imagine 925 is around here, so it's 19Z now. I was probably taking around 18Z, so that's a little on the cool side. That's the GFS. The NAM had it. Yep, 19Z. So I think the NAM had a better temperature forecast today than the GFS. So I would imagine it's a touch warmer. See, NAM forecast a high of 85 today, while the GFS had a high of about 83 or so. They're already 84, so the GFS is on a losing streak right now. So we can correct from that. So I think the high will occur next hour or two. Probably 85, 86. Probably anywhere between 85 and 87 will probably be the observed high today. So I think that's what I'll go with tomorrow. Anywhere between 85 and 87. Past 4 days of Wxchallenge, which was last week, had highs of 86 all 4 days. So that seems to be a nice number to go with. Again, I don't know what the high is yet for today, but it looks like if you took an average of the NAM and GFS for tomorrow, it's right around 86 degrees. GFS a little warmer than the NAM. May have a better idea of cloud coverage, which again I don't think is going to be an issue. Winds are the same, just a little stronger out of the east, so no series. So yes, I don't see any reason to differ from today's high, which again I think will be between 85 and 87. Lastly, winds. So just taking a look at the time high cross section of the wind field, there's a good amount of wind in the boundary layer tomorrow, so it mixes up to about 835, 840 millibars. NAM, GFS, a little shallower, although more uniform wind speeds, lesser resolution on the lower resolution model. But overall, I think tomorrow will have higher winds than today. I think the GFS has some substantially higher winds than the NAM. Yeah, especially when you take a look at the Moss. NAM Moss only about 8 knots. GFS Moss goes up to 10. 10-meter winds especially out to 16 knots, while the NAM is only 12 knots. I think and I'd probably want to go with the higher wind speed. Why not? So I think they can probably. It's gonna be a windy day. That is for sure. So yeah, I think I'll go a little bit higher than the NAM. Let me take a look at the USL. Finally, break up the USL. What does that have to say? Let's see. 71, I still think that's too warm. High of 86, what do you know? Winds 13, so I think a few knots higher than that, a couple of degrees colder than that. I think it has the high pretty much where it should be. Precip, nothing to worry about there. And just look at sky cover. Really, nothing between 5 and maybe 15%, which is nothing to worry about. Yeah, I think we'll have to see how the moisture trends this afternoon. Again, the NAM had quite the moisture spike around 0Z, which is from the forecast too, while the GFS maintains itself just above 1.3. And looking at SVC mesoanalysis, I don't see their precipitable water values increasing too much over the next 7 hours or so. We'll see. Something to keep an eye on. If the precipitable waters stay where they are, I'm going to follow GFS, which I think is still too warm based on last night's temperature, which had some cloud cover initially and slightly higher winds. I think winds tonight will be a little bit lower than last night. USL has winds averaging about 6 knots. It has a bit of clouds. I don't think this will have much impact. Okay, I think that's all I had to say on this forecast. Alright. So long.